Tom Andrews here, and I want to talk to you a little bit about jointers today and how to use a jointer safely. I very much like this jointer. A couple things that you kind of want to keep in mind as you're looking for a jointer if you're going to buy one. If you look at the width of this table, this is really a huge issue because you can plane things that are really wide. And so, or joint things that are really wide. The other thing is the length of the table, the in feed and the out feed table. The longer that is, the more stable it is when you're working. And so another thing I like a lot about this planer is this really high quality kill switch that's mounted where you want it. It's very easy to tilt the fence. It has a very nice mechanism for that. And it's really easy to lower the in-feed table to take a little bit more off. A couple things I want to talk about in terms of push sticks. One of the things that's kind of on the market is this rubber pad, but you know, if you've bought these things, you know that rubber pad gets kind of slick actually. It doesn't keep its tackiness. Here's a trick for you. Just take a little 5-inch orbital sander that's got an adhesive pad and just stick it on there, and then that will grip. Obviously you're not going to get it into the planer head if you're careful, but this is a great way to make that work out. Basically, you know when you need to use a push stick or some sort of a hold down device, and it's any time that your hand is below this surface. If your hand is above the surface of the fence right here, you're good to use your own hands. If it's below this, it's much safer for you to be using some type of hold down or some type of push stick to go ahead and work this stuff through. So now I'm going to bring the camera up, and I want to show you the best thing about this planer, which is the spiral head, or this jointer, which is the spiral head cutter. Now what you can see on this spiral head cutter is that each individual carbide is its own chisel. And so the cool thing about this new design is that that's actually square, and each side of this is sharpened to a razor edge. So if you hit a nail or something and you chip that, all you have to do is take this Torx head and unfasten that and rotate it 90 degrees, and you've got a brand new cutter head. So there's none of that nonsense of the old knife that used to come all the way across this. With the old technology, and the problem with that was that old knife would come up and it would just go whack, and it would hit the board, and then it would leave kind of an ocean ripple on the surface of the board. And so there's none of that here. And if you can look here, what you'll see is that each of these is staggered, and so you have a much more uniform cut if you're handling a piece of wood through here. And so each of these things is its own little chisel that takes off its own chip, and it doesn't come up and whack the board all at one time and cause all that noise and vibration. The rotary cutters are smooth and they're quiet, and the work is cleaner. It doesn't leave that sort of ocean ripple on the board. This will cut an absolute slick glass finish. And so I encourage you, if on all of your new tools, to consider spiral head. It's the only thing that I buy anymore. The maximum cutting depth that a jointer can be set at is 1/8 of an inch, and in a lot of cabinet shops you'll see that set at 1/8 of an inch. I don't do that because of issues of kickback, and I don't mind to take a second pass on something. But it's much safer and with much less risk of kickback if you'll just go ahead and set that at 1/16 of an inch. Another kind of rule of thumb is that we don't really run anything through the planer that's less than 12 inches. And so I will go ahead and just run this through here. Remember, as with all machinery, it's critical that your feed speed be very consistent, and that we don't jerk as we go through there, that we have a very consistent feed right on through the jointer, and we'll get our best results that way. So you can see that is absolutely a piece of glass as you work on it, and you can get just a perfect glue joint out of that. I want to do a couple of other types of jointing operations. A lot of people think that maybe just a 3/4 inch wide stock can be put through here. You can use the full width. And this is an 8-inch wide jointer. You can put an 8-inch wide board through there. And it works very well with a spiral head cutter. It is really a rough chore if you're using an old one with knives. So you can see that that is just a slick glass finish, and that's the type of thing that we want to glue together or that we want to use to assemble panels. That's about it for the jointer. It's a very easy tool to use. Do not make the mistake though of thinking that it is completely safe just because it's pretty easy to use, because it will, as you can see, be a threat to you if you use it improperly. Once again, the safety rules on this are that we're anywhere below the level of the fence, we're going to use a push stick or some type of hold down. Above that fence, we can go ahead and handle that by hand, and we don't joint anything that is less than 12 inches. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click the like button and subscribe to the channel.